Many practitioners struggle to move from a strategic decision to executing on that decision. There's actually anecdotal evidence suggesting that between 50 and 90% of strategic decisions never get fully implemented. There can be many different reasons for this. In this paper, we look at what the research has to say about strategy implementation. And to be quite frank, current research on implementation doesn't provide any straightforward or simple answers. There were two main perspectives we found. What we saw was that these two streams of research rarely connected. They rarely spoke to each other. And we felt this was unfortunate because in our understanding and from our experience, implementation is not either or, it requires both. We analyzed 119 articles and found 5 key practices involved in implementation work. The first one is structure and process matching. Second one has to do with resource matching, putting the right resources to make sure that the strategic decisions get implemented. The third one is about monitoring and making sure you're moving in the direction you decided. The fourth one is about framing, and that has to do with how managers communicate about the rationale for the decision that's made. And the fifth one is about negotiating. And here we find that it's both negotiations of interest and negotiations of meanings, because people tend to have different understandings of what the strategic decision is. What we're saying then is that implementation involves all 5 of these practices. And if managers think of strategy implementation as primarily a structural issue, they're going to fall short. Surely structure matters, it shapes behavior, but it's not enough. So successful implementation will require attending to the 4 other practices as well. By identifying these 5 practices, we create an overview. So we show what actions, what actors, and what tools are involved in each of these 5 practices. So these implementation practices cut across organizational levels, and the specific activities we see may be somewhat different across levels. So by bringing together the fragmented research and knowledge on strategy implementation, this paper gives an overview of what we know from research about strategy implementation. And the framework we developed showing the different practices, and within each of those 5 practices, looking at the activities, the actors, and the tools involved, can be used like a framework or a checklist for practitioners. And hopefully then we'll be able to see some better results and better numbers in terms of what percentage of strategies actually get implemented.